He's just hanging out back there. He was not wanting to be held at all. So today we're going to talk about hospitality. We're going to start the timer. 7 minutes long. While we're just playing out behind us. One take. Hospitality and what some do's and don'ts, some lessons. There's no way we can cover an entire subject in just 7 minutes, but we can definitely still tackle some of the highlights.
Yeah, and in general, we feel like people either are afraid of hosting or don't like it because they're not familiar with it, or they love it and they do it all the time. So usually it's like if you get invited over someplace, it's usually that one family that everyone always goes to their house. They're the one inviting everyone.
Typically, yeah.
So
and I think there's a way that I think everybody should grow in some way here.
So we're here to...
You should want to host wherever you're at on that spectrum. Try to take any steps forward.
Yeah.
I love this
guy. We love hosting, so these are just some things that have been helpful to us.
Right. Yeah, and if I would be interested to hear what people think in terms of like things that they could add on to that, new ways to be hospitable or lessons that they've learned. Yeah. Here's a verse. We're actually commanded to show hospitality in Scripture. 1 Peter 4:8 through 10. Above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. Be hospitable to one another without grumbling. As each one has received a gift, minister to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Mm-hmm. So even if you're not hospitable, like the hub or the host all the time, you're still
not your gift or whatever.
The gift that you have, the skill, the talents you have, you are to pay it forward and minister to others. Mm-hmm. So that you're still...
He's saying, like, despite your gift...
You're not off the hook.
You need to host, yeah.
Right, and another element to that is to be authentic and to create close community, but also be wary of who you have in your home and who's around a lot. It's not something you don't invite everybody, because the next verse here is 1 Corinthians 5:11. And
Paul makes a point. A big reason why we host and why we have people in our home is to create that close community and authenticity. But Paul says you don't want to be doing that with believers who are like in rebellion, living in sin. And he says specifically, actually I'll just read the verse. He says, I've written to you not to keep company with anyone named a brother who is sexually immoral or covetous or an idolater or a reviler or a drunkard or an extortioner, not even to eat with a person. So there's just something about having that fellowship, that koinonia with someone that is destructive. You're building close community with someone who's just not, walking with the Lord.
He was having trouble reaching the next toy. So if something is not efficacious to your goals, I feel like that's just an obvious one. Make the smart decision and wise decision there. One of the strongest witnesses as well. First, in just John 13:34 through 35. A new commandment I give to you, so that you love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. That's the new commandment. Everybody's heard that verse. But the next one, by this all will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. And how do you build that relationship is by time spent, quality time, and doing things together. And
it's just another reason why hosting is so important, is because you really, when someone's in your home and they're seeing your family. Hey, bud, you want to say something too?
Let me grab a...
Okay. Once people are in your home and they're seeing how you are in your home, it's a really strong witness. You have a big witness there. So
practical tips. We talked about whys and a little more spiritual, biblical sides of things, but practical things that we've learned and lessons we've learned. We're about halfway through. Perfect timing. So people respond well when there's a plan for the evening. Get organized, not complicated. Liz is a star at this, having a structure.
People really like to know what to expect, so it doesn't have to be crazy, complicated, but generally at our get-togethers, there's food, like there's a home-cooked meal, there's games, there's a little devotional time, and
have
dessert.
Enough food, and be mindful of some folks having allergies. Or ask folks.
Don't kill your guests.
That's important.
Pro tip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Decor, seating.
Yeah, so, it's really, you don't have to have a walking Pinterest board for a house, but definitely, you can go outside and grab a couple branches and put them on the table and light some candles.
Actually,
it doesn't have to be expensive, but just put some effort in, because people like to feel like you made an effort and it's special. They feel special.
I was surprised by how much of an impact that has.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not
nice,
an overly
welcoming.
aesthetic. Yeah, I'm not big on how everything looks, but because of that comfortable atmosphere and that's just been such a great catalyst to making good things happen with groups of people. So I didn't know what a statement piece was before I was married. I didn't even know what that was. So Games. So, activities. We don't have time for that.
Fishbowl, catchphrase, good group games.
Don't play Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, and for seating, like oftentimes gentlemen like to have ladies go first as far as going through the food line, which is great.
Right.
But it tends to segregate everyone every single week, and you end up talking to
All
the
the
same
girls
people.
sitting there, all the guys sitting
So
there.
yeah, like
Couples
do it by
and-
eye color or birthdays or alphabetical names or something. You can get creative with how to mix it up.
Right. All right. So impact. This is something too. Don't just make it a social setting. That's very easy to do actually. Is you over time you just have a social group, and you want to make sure that you're being intentional and having good questions. And part of that is a devotional. Part of that is putting a little effort into this stage. Managing your expectations. You're not going to be the best in the world on the first time, or even if you've been seasoned and you have a long history of people coming over. You're still going to make a mistake once in a while, or like we don't have enough chairs, or we forgot to order enough pizza, or we didn't make enough food.
And
Or
it doesn't have to be. You can be low key about it, and people feel more relaxed when you're relaxed about them being in your home. So.
a couple other notes there.
Yeah, this is kind of a side note, but like as a parent, we're thinking about this a lot right now. One of the very best things that you can do for your kid and your relationship is to have your home be the hubbub and where your kid wants to be, what their friends want to be.
Yeah.
You get to know their friends, and even as a single person, like that's how I created a really close community, was just by having people over. It's actually how I ended up getting to know those guys. and
Subject for
marrying them.
another day.
Yeah, so it's really a healthy thing for your home.
Even into the teen years, you said that. Right?
Yeah, even
That's-
into the teen
Yeah,
years.
and you have to. It takes time and development over time. So, other subjects we want to talk about. This was just the 10,000-foot view of this subject. Our hope is that folks would want to be more hospitable and
Yeah.
host people more and be part of your community a little bit more. Other subjects we want to love to talk about at some point: telling your birth story, marriage advice, just things that we've learned. We're at 7 minutes now, but thriving in singleness. How to make your bride feel beautiful and how to be genuine in that regard. And then also, just for fun here, non-toxic masculinity. Understanding respect and adventure, and then how that, just a 7-minute video on that would be
Yeah,
fun.
some notes that we're writing down, things we want to talk about.
If you feel there are other questions or ideas that we should do, that's a definite thing too. Let us know, comment, and say, hey, what about that subject? Try tackling that. Yeah, cool. We're not experts, but it's still fun to talk things through. So that's 7 minutes. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Right.